I've just realised maybe I wasn't live. Was I live then? Was I live? Guys, I think I wasn't live for some reason there. Oh dear, I think I've ballsed up here. Guys, can someone let me know whether they were actually seeing anything there in the chat? Dan, if you're there. I think I've messed up. Oh dear. I did tell you I was new to streaming. I feel like I've messed up here. I don't feel like it was streaming live to YouTube. It was streaming off of OBS, but not off of YouTube. Oh dear. Oh no. Cheers, guys. Right. Oh, that was awful. So I had everything planned, but I was in preview mode by the looks of it. Oh, great. See, I did say last week that I was terrible at this. I'd put intro music in. I'd done all of this cool stuff for you guys for this week, and I've ballsed up. I am really sorry. So yeah, nobody heard anything that I was saying for the past 10 minutes. Yep, I've just been talking to myself, Joe. That is. Yeah, yeah, brilliant. I'll start again. I can't believe that. I had everything all set up. I'd just introduced everyone. I just got into my flow, just started going through my notes and everything, and I've clearly not hit stream on the YouTube side of things. I'd hit stream on OBS, but not on YouTube. What a fool. Right, okay. So, we'll start again. Look, I'll show you the waiting room anyway. She'll do that. Should we just start again? Let's just pretend. Look at that. It's a rewind. It's a WandaVision rewind. Can everyone hear the funky music that I've added into this waiting room? Yeah? No? Oh dear. Oh dear. I can't believe that. Right, okay, we'll skip on to that.
The Film Fella.
Look, as if by magic, I've done it all right now. Right, for anyone that is new here, I do apologise. I have mentioned in the past couple of weeks that I'm very new to doing streaming, and clearly I was wondering. I was looking at the YouTube screen for ages, going, "Why is it saying preview? And why is it saying open stream on YouTube?" Clearly, you have to click on both. So my apologies if you're new here. I'm the Film Fella, or a bloke on the internet trying to be known as the Film Fella. You've probably already left at this point. My name's Jordan, as you can see. I'm a bit of a nerd. I've got all of this, well, for want of a better word, my missus calls it crap. I call it, my little man cave around me. And as you can see, I'm interested in all things Marvel and Jurassic Park and just films and TV and everything. But yeah, I ballsed up. So if anyone was sat here waiting, I'd said that the stream had gone live 10 minutes ago. We're live now. This is it. Here we go. This is the quality content that you've come back for, I'm hoping. I did mention in my little preview there that I'm kind of hoping doesn't actually go live now. I'm going to have a look at the editing after this. But yes, this hoodie, for anyone that was wondering, if you have come back, I do wash it. I've washed it for the past few weeks now, and I've been wearing it for these streams. It's obviously an X-Men hoodie, because WandaVision, mutants, X-Men, you get it. I've already said all this to myself 10 minutes ago. And also, I've turned into a bit of a top knot twat, for want of a better word, because the UK barbers are all shut here. My hair's now an absolute mess, so we've got full on top knot going on. So if you don't like that, I apologise profusely. All that's out of the way now. Let's get on with the episode 7 stuff, because I've already wasted 10 minutes of my own life. So, I mentioned to myself a moment ago that the episode title is usually not revealed until later on in the day. It seems like Marvel have just kind of thrown this away now and just given up. So they're now sort of titling them by the looks of it as they come out, because more of the plots come out. Maybe it's just easier and there's nothing really to hide anymore. So this one's called Breaking the Fourth Wall, which obviously fits really well with the sort of the WandaVision Modern Family spoof that they're doing in this episode, which I absolutely loved, by the way. The Modern Family sort of like spoofs. Modern Family is a fantastic sitcom. Obviously, if you've never watched it, it's like a mockumentary, documentary type show about a modern family and like what they get up to and whatnot. Really love that. Really love the fact that basically, obviously, Modern Family, because it's a modern documentary, they deal with stuff like having kids and having a hangover and things like that. And in this version, Wanda has obviously extended the hex, created this massive anomaly that she's created, and she's kind of playing it off as if she's got a hangover, which was just fantastic. I thought that was a brilliant setup into segueing into Modern Family. I also noticed that because this is Modern Family, it means that the Malcolm in the Middle type episode that we got last week was kind of a crossover between the late 90s and early 2000s, which obviously makes sense when you saw like The Incredibles on in the cinema in the background and things like that. You obviously also got at the end of the previous episode when Pietro turned up in episode 5, that kind of blurred the lines between late 80s and late 90s. So they've kind of skipped the 90s to get to the sort of the modern stuff to tie up the series, I guess. But in doing so, they've kind of amalgamated the 80s and 90s and then the 90s and the 2000s. So obviously I said in the chat before, what will this episode be? They've jumped to Modern Family. I don't think it's played as a hangover, but depression. Yeah, I agree, Joe. It's probably a bit of both. It kind of felt like a little bit like the comedic side of it was definitely, I've got kids, I can't deal with them. I've just done like, she's treating the hex as if it was like a massive bender last night that she'd just done, and that she just didn't want to deal with whatever came the next day. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that was entertaining. As I probably haven't even mentioned this, if anyone is new here, for whatever reason you've stumbled onto it, and obviously this went live 10 minutes late, obviously because I'm an idiot and I didn't click on the stream button. But if you have just joined us, I'm literally just going through the episode beat by beat off my notepad on my phone as I've watched it. I've not watched anyone else's theory videos. This is all just straight off the top of my own bonnet, with the help of Dan and Joe who log in each week, and because they're in the same situation as I am during this UK lockdown, so they're giving me a hand as well. And yeah, I'm just going through it beat by beat on my phone. We will get to the big stuff at the end, so stick around and we'll talk about that as well. Stuff will feed into other things, and I'll check the chat as I go. Speaking of which, what are you guys saying? Abby washes it. Abby hates it. Abby hates the top knot. She wants to cut it off. I'm trying it because, there's only you guys on the internet that are seeing me at the moment, so why not, eh? What else have we got? Yeah, I did see. Yeah, The Incredibles from the previous episode does sort of riff off the Fantastic Four stuff as well, which I thought was, it's very sly, underhand, on the nose stuff. So I enjoyed that as well. Right, going back to me notes. So we've got. I did type down that when it was doing the previously on WandaVision, and it shows you the Agnes scene in the car, when Vision sort of reawakens her, should we say. It definitely just sunk in my head straight away. I know we discussed it on the chat last week, that she was definitely faking that and playing possum the entire time just to encourage Vision's curiosity. It pushed him to go out, and that then in turn put him in danger, which then meant that the barrier, the hex, had to get extended, which is clearly part of what I feel like Agnes, at the time when I was typing this before we knew anything else, was definitely doing. So that kind of just clicked when I was watching that, and I know we'd already discussed it last week, but there we go. That's where we are with it. I liked the fact that, obviously, as I mentioned, because of the hangover stuff, she's aware that she's expanded the hex and things. Like, her awareness to what she's doing and how she's meddling with things is becoming more and more apparent. She's pretty cool. What else have we got? Things are obviously spiraling out of control. Like, obviously she's extended it. She was already struggling to deal with the expanded radius in the previous episode when Vision goes further and further out from the town. Obviously people are like glitching out. People are stuck in a loop. People are just completely frozen because it seems like she is like the epicenter of what's going on, which kind of riffs off of some of the comic book stuff, particularly to do with the kids, that if she's not thinking about them or she's not near them or she's not dealing with them, they can't be animated or in the comics. They aren't there. They don't exist in the very earliest iteration of the Wiccan and Speed origin stuff. So that was pretty cool. Dan mentioned this to me just before we came live, that the adverts and stuff at the beginning, the subtitles, you've got when she's watching TV, you've got the news report about the Halloween candy from the previous episode, and it might be affecting the kids' heads, which I thought was quite a cool nod, possibly to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When they're in the, for want of a better word, it's like the Matrix on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they basically, Coulson mentions that mind control soap, which obviously some people have noticed from I think it was episode 3 where there was the Hydra soak as well. So it's kind of that mind control element again. And my brother's joined us. So hey, up deck, if you're watching, cheers. He did mention to me before, he was asking how these live streams work and whether I just basically talk over an episode. And then he's linked it to obviously commentating in football. So if anyone wonders why he's just stuck the word Aguero in the comments, it's because he thinks I'm doing some sort of weird football commentary over TV shows. Hi Deck, stick around if you want. I know you'll not understand any of this, but nice of you to join us. As I mentioned before, it was pretty cool for the Office TV show spoof for the title cards, and what I did notice is that there was no pictures of any of them, which has been very different to the other title cards. Obviously, because it's a spoof, there's no pictures in the Office title cards either, so it's obviously parodying it, beat for beat. But at the same time, obviously, Vision is out of the picture at the moment. There's no picture of Vision. There's no introduction of him at all. Kevin Rivas, hello, welcome to the chat. Ghost Rider, do you want to elaborate? I have a feeling I know what you might be hinting towards, and it might be the stuff at the very end of the episode. If you're new to joining us, we're literally just going through the episode beat by beat as what I've done notes on my phone, so we're still quite early on because I started late. Yeah, I know what you're getting at, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. Right, okay, we'll get to it. Stick around, Kev. If that's all right, if I'm all right to call you Kev, and we'll get to that because I have mentioned that book in particular in my notes, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans will know exactly what me and Kev are talking about here. Right, where are we at? So obviously I thought it was pretty cool. There's no signal because again she's losing control, etc. and so forth. I'm going to start rattling forward through these notes because I've started 10 minutes late because I'm an idiot. Vision, obviously near the circus because it's where we last saw him, and as it's been alluded to in the episode, she's clearly aware that he's not happy, so she's just not wanting to deal with whatever comes with him confronting her again. So he's just awakened exactly where he was left, basically, which is right next to the sword stuff. Escape artist Darcy was pretty cool. I thought it was quite a good sort of on-the-nose reference to the fact that she obviously probably will want to escape as well as the people there. It was funny. I thought it was quite funny. It was quite well played, even though she didn't really have much going on. She was only the escape artist for a few minutes on screen before things changed for her character. What else have we got? So Wanda mentioning if he doesn't want to be here, there's nothing you can do about it. As I've mentioned, don't want to be here, so she's just pushed it all aside and she can't bother dealing with it all. Joe, Darcy not a clown though. Yeah, maybe it's just because it's hinting that it could be one of those very meta things where it's like, well, a lot of the sword agents are clowns in the the idiotic sense, as well as the fact that they are metaphorically clowns in that reality. So maybe Darcy being a bit smarter. I guess escape artists have got to be a little bit smarter as well. Maybe that's what it was getting at. Don't know. I know you did want Darcy to be a clown in the last stream, so I'm sorry, mate. What else have we got? He's not your uncle, so we've got no idea who he is. She mentions that again. Obviously, we'll get to the Pietro stuff because obviously there is stuff to talk about later on. But that was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting. Obviously, it's apparent that Wanda is literally... I've just typed down that Wanda going crazy. That is literally all I've typed here because, well, she is. She's losing control, losing sanity, losing every grip on the reality that she, or in her own mind, has created. Again, we'll get to that. She already knew that Agnes was coming again, which obviously if we think to what happens at the very end of this episode, it all makes sense. Agnes not wearing the brooch again that she was panicking, or allegedly panicking about in the last episode. I don't know if that's even a thing now. Thinking about it now, is the brooch even really a thing? Who knows? Agnes wants the kids. She wanted the kids, or she wanted to be involved with the kids for quite a while now. I'm not sure why it's just suddenly taken to this point for her to get the kids. Maybe it's the exertion from Wanda of doing everything that she's done. She just can't be bothered to deal with the kids at the moment, doesn't want to look after them. She just wants some, as she mentioned, some time for herself. So in that respect, it's now the perfect opportunity for Agnes to take the kids to one side, as we've seen later on in the episode. I liked the allusion to did bite a kid once in the very comedy sort of Modern Family vibe that she was getting to as well. Obviously, we know exactly at the end of this episode who she is. As fans, a lot of us had already guessed who she was. But the fact that she mentions did bite a kid once, it just alludes to that witchiness that, you know, the sort of fairy tale witch, Hansel and Gretel, that kind of thing, biting a kid. It was a funny one-off line that probably had a deeper meaning. What else have we got? I've just noticed that Dan stuck F's in the chat for Sparky. Yeah, I did mention before that there was definitely more than meets the eye about Sparky. And yeah, F's in, pay your respects. F's in the chat for Sparky. Poor Sparky, he didn't deserve that at all. What else have we got going on in the chat? Also, he was handcuffed to the truck, so became the... yeah, good point. So yeah, she was handcuffed to the truck, so obviously those chains have reality warped into... Well, the handcuffs have reality warped into chains. Pretty cool. Quite like that. Didn't even notice that, to be honest. It's a good observation, Gio. Well done, mate. What else have we got? Also love that the engineer was actually nothing important. Yeah, we'll get to that. I think that's probably wound up a lot of people, but we'll get to it. I even went back and watched it in subtitles just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything there. So yeah, the last firewall codes, when we go back to Wu and Monica outside as they're going to meet the engineer. We've obviously got the codename Cataract. I don't know if that's anything to do with eyes. In fact, that actually makes a lot of sense. Vision, eyes, cataracts. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense completely. So yeah, trying to bring Vision back. Obviously, here we go again with the Wayward Hayward stuff. It's Hayward. It's been a bit wayward. It's doing some dodgy stuff. I've mentioned in previous episodes and previous streams and previous videos that I've done that obviously Wayward Hayward being super dodgy from the get-go. Potentially suspicions from a lot of us in the chat that it might be a Skrull. I mentioned that obviously we've got Secret Invasion coming up, and if they're wanting to do that kind of Defenders-esque thing where like on Netflix where shows build to one show overlapping with the MCU movies, it would make sense that they start plotting and planting the seed of Secret Invasion in other shows to get interest and to connect things together, especially for fans that are casual fans, people just watch Marvel movies and don't really know about all of this, for want of a better word, nerdy stuff that we're all talking about. So that's pretty cool. Maybe so the Skrulls, maybe if it is that, if I'm sort of putting myself in the Skrull camp completely now, and if it is that, and it is a splinter cell of Skrulls that are kicking off with the Wayward Hayward stuff, maybe he's making a weapon of some kind. They need a sentient weapon, something strong, something indestructible, to be able to help them in whatever mission they've got in Secret Invasion. But we'll see. It's just a guess. Right, so we'll get to the bit that Joe just mentioned to do with the engineer that's probably pissed off a lot of fanboys. I wasn't too bothered. I didn't think that they'd drop a Reed Richards or a Brashear sort of thing in this. Obviously, I put myself in the Brashear camp just because it made sense with the whole Spectrum stuff in the comics. But at the same time, surely they'll want to tease and drag these things out in maybe the movies and things, especially if these characters become bigger players, as it appears Monica will be. So yeah, Major Goodner was who we got. It's a female character. I thought they alluded to the character being male before, but maybe I've just added that in, or maybe I've just seen that somewhere else, or maybe it's just all of the fan chatter has just dragged us into that realm when it's not actually that at all. So, hey ho. Yeah, as Joe mentioned in the chat, not particularly, as far as I'm aware, an important character. I've tried to Google to see if there's anyone in there. Obviously, I've mentioned before, I have read the comics, growing up and things. I'm not completely an avid comic book reader these days. I just like doing the research. I'm just going to own up that obviously I do have a little Google from time to time just to, give information to people that, for want of a better word, watch it. They're interested but can't be asked doing it. Why not? So yeah, can't find out who that character is. I think it's potentially just a throwaway character. I can't wait for this line that I've just said to bite me in the ass later. Also, it seems that some aspects of S.W.O.R.D. are still loyal to Monica and her mum. It seems like there's some sort of internal power struggle going on. Maybe some people are already a bit dodge to what Hayward is doing. What have we got here from Joe? Spanish subs had a female pronoun. Ah, right, okay, fair enough. Makes sense. Joe doing the mega sleuthing on the subtitles there. Well done. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know where I've seen the him thing. I don't know whether I've just misheard or whether I've literally just gone down the rabbit hole that everyone else has and just believed it was the bloke. But fair play. So yeah, it seems like there's some sort of internal power struggle going on at S.W.O.R.D., which is quite interesting. Obviously, the tank, which I called it a tank to begin with, and then they call it like a space rover later on, looks a bit like Pym tech. And obviously, if Hank Pym and everyone disappeared for the 5 years, if S.W.O.R.D. just sort of nicked stuff because no one was defending things or looking after the property, I don't know, or has things been seized by the government, which could be S.W.O.R.D. in some respects, and that's how it's ended up like that. I don't know. But it did look a bit Pym techy. It looked a bit like what they used to go into the quantum realm to an extent. Vision, I've put here, is fully aware. He's just fully aware of everything, knows exactly what's going on, super aware. Darcy seems fine when she comes through. Clearly, Wanda's impact on people further out maybe is struggling to put these suppressed, depressed, awful memories and, thoughts and feelings into them. And perhaps, that is just how it is. And Darcy, because she was not under for very long when she's awakened by Vision, is pretty level-headed about it all. Plus, she obviously knew the most. She probably knows more than anyone else. So probably easier to sort of get over that hurdle and just get on with it. She's not in a state of shock like some of the Westviewans. Don't know. What do we want to call it? Westviewans? I don't know. People from Westview are obviously, they've been, for want of a better word, abducted. So, she's already aware, so it kind of changes things a little bit. I don't understand what's happening, why it's all falling apart. Again, she mentions that in one of the cutaway things, does Wanda. And again, it's just explaining again that she's not fully aware what is going on and how this has actually happened in the first place, which kind of makes sense when obviously you get further into the episode and towards the fan theories that we've all had for some time now. And then obviously we've got the someone speaking back and saying, do you think this is what you deserve? So it almost feels like whoever's doing this is punishing them, or punishing her at least for whatever reason. So could there be a deeper line tie-in? We obviously know who it was that was speaking to her when we get to the end of the episode, but at the time I obviously wrote down who just spoke, because to this point she's been broadcasting, but to who, and who's been actually broadcasting it in the first place. So let's have a look. What else have we got? The Nexus antidepressant. I don't know if anyone's looked into Nexus to see if Nexus has got any kind of links to anything. Pop it in the chat. Go away and Google. I'm obviously sat here talking, so if you want to add some theory to the Nexus stuff, you can do. I feel like it's probably something pulled from somewhere, but I haven't looked into it. For the antidepressant drug, the reality-changing drugs may cause more depression, which I thought was a nice touch, because obviously whenever you get those silly sort of infomercial commercials, even in the UK when we have them sometimes where they've got the side effects stuff that's sort of mentioned very quickly. I know in like American adverts you get a lot of sort of medical adverts, for want of a better word, because you have to pay for them, whereas over here you don't sometimes get through the NHS, blah blah blah. Let's ignore all that chatter, but thought it was pretty funny that it just mentions that may include causes more depression as a side effect. And obviously it also mentions the world doesn't revolve around you, or does it? Which I thought was a pretty cool line. Quite like the adverts. They're very meta and they're always really dark, kind of like seeds into what's going on in the series, which, you know, I quite enjoy, especially because they're only short. Agnes's house, finally. So we obviously found and saw Agnes's house inside it, as I think Joe mentioned in the chat somewhere here. Did he mention it looked very witches like? Is that what you put? I'm trying to find it. I'm not sure where you've put it, but it did feel very witches. It felt very Roald Dahl or very Hocus Pocus or something like that. The house did feel like that. Obviously, Senior Scratchy is still there again. Obviously, there's been some talk that Scratchy, sort of a reference to the devil, in some capacity, Nick Scratch and things like that. Like, you know, that kind of reference is interesting. It's very quiet in Agnes's house, as Wiccan mentions. Knows something is off with her, and it's quiet on the inside. Like, she knows that her mind isn't working to do things like his mother is. It's very peaceful and tranquil, which is very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing where that heads in the next episode. Also, where's Ralph? Ralph gets mentioned a lot. We don't see any Ralph. Super interesting stuff that I'm sure all of you picked up on. Let's have a look at the chat. Hang on. What have we got? I have an Nexus link to Star Trek, but I don't think it'll be that. Yeah, Joe, I don't think it's a Star Trek reference. I mean, it could be, but I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the writers from Rick and Morty have been doing a lot of the Marvel sort of Disney Plus TV stuff, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they add Easter eggs and nods to other things. Dan has headed to the Marvel database and checked the Nexus is a cross-dimensional gateway which provides a pathway to any and all possible reality. Okay, that's probably what it is. It's probably what it's referencing, even if it's, you know, maybe the Nexus is something to do with what Agnes is doing, which we will get to at the end of the episode as I get to it. What else we got? And I think Wanda is possibly a Nexus being. Right, okay, that's an interesting one. Right, okay, so Joe's theory is that the kids have been turned into animals, or maybe the kids were always animals? Possibly. I don't know if it is that, but it would... It's kind of alluded to it in the way that the camera sort of sticks to things. Dan had a very good theory in regards to one of the animals that we see, but we will get to that. We'll get to it. I promise we're getting to the meaty, juicy stuff. If you've just joined us, I'm going through it beat by beat, note by note on my phone as I've watched it. We're talking about everything, not just the big, juicy ending, but we're getting there. So just stick around and we'll get to it. We can all talk about it. Right. And the vibe linked to the witch. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. It definitely has that kind of the witches vibe in relation to the animals as well, which is it's cool. It's all there's a lot of witchy stuff before the reveal, which I thought was pretty fun. Monica heading in to get Darcy and sort the mess out. So obviously we're getting to chunky bit part 1 here. So we've obviously got the heavily armoured space rover, which obviously did look a bit like Pimtech to me. Looks like it's been sort of pinched. Who knows? I also got a little bit of a vibe of like the Fantastic Four car in the way that it was shaped, because it's a space vehicle, but you know, it wasn't completely designed in the same way we've seen that in the comics and the previous movies, but it was just like the nod, the wink, the vibe I was getting from it. A lot of space stuff, because obviously it's sword. Right, so the barrier is now denser, so it's obviously whatever's going on, we're getting to the end game of whatever is happening, because not only is the barrier that it doesn't want anyone coming in, it's got denser, it's got more difficult to penetrate, even if you're just trying to walk through it, as we see. Obviously, the truck don't go through, it gets pinged back, and you know, I typed down, looks like she's heading in before she even did it, and she goes in, and she's obviously getting her willpower and the voices of her mum and Carol pushing her through to the point where she comes through on the other side, and you know, I've just typed here, Spectrum is born. I don't know what variation of name they will call it. I mentioned before Comic Drake's videos that I've been watching on YouTube. Obviously he goes into way more depth. He reads the comics. I don't read them as much, so go check out Comic Drake's recent video on Monica Rambeau, because it gives you the full history of everything. For example, I didn't know that she was originally the first sort of Captain Marvel. I believe that was even before the Marvel sort of alien stuff, and before Carol Danvers as well. She's also led the Avengers. We've also had her leading or being involved with the Ultimates, which is obviously like the opposite universe, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, sort of Ultimate Avengers comic book line from the parallel sort of alternate dimension, the comics that I sort of grew up reading as a teenager and as a kid, where she led them, like the Avenger team that's on there. And yeah, the costume that she's wearing, the sword costume's got the black and white, which sort of represents the Spectrum costume from the comics. So it does feel like they're heading down the Spectrum route, but we'll see. We've obviously got Vision being forced into the skits, like the Modern Family type skits, to stop him from trying to get home, and all the things happening to stop him from driving home. I was amazed really that he didn't clock on that, obviously because he's just fully Vision at this point, that he couldn't just fly to her in the first place. Obviously she clearly doesn't want the confrontation. It's either her, or as is alluded to later on, it is another character that is doing this to stop him from getting there. But obviously he can fly, so he's going to get there eventually, to try and stop whatever it is that's going on. He also is asking what he is now. The questions that we're all asking, like why can't he leave the Hex? Is he still going to be alive after this series ends, etc., etc.? And obviously Darcy mentioning that they belong together and that the love is actually legitimately there, even though he can't remember anything that's happened before. Nice one from Dan there, getting the big Fantastic Four vibes on the vehicle as well. That was it. Even though it's not even remotely like it from a comic book panel perspective, or even from like the movies that we'd seen before, I just got that vibe. It just sort of sunk in there a little bit. Right, what else have we got? So we've got the Wanda versus Spectrum sort of alluded to. It almost happened. Almost happened. We almost got it. But they kind of held off, and obviously Agnes interrupts, which obviously gives us that villainous intent. We also got the line from Spectrum, from Monica. Well, I'm going to call her Monica for now because she hasn't taken up a name or a mantle, but don't let him make you the villain, in reference to sort of Hayward and him wanting to like just destroy the Hex to get what he wants, which is Vision. But then she just mentions that maybe I already am, which obviously has been alluded to, but I feel like this has got to be the biggest double fake out going. And obviously, as we find out later on, we were right. It's like a fake out on top of a fake out. Like there is some sort of dodginess going on with Wanda, but it's not completely her. Obviously, we've got the Agnes overstage your welcome bit where Agnes comes in and interrupts, and at this point I'd typed down, obviously we know what happened because we've all watched it, but at this point I'd typed down Agnes is definitely manipulating her, and that a lot of us theories and thoughts regarding her character are starting to come true. I mentioned earlier that I don't know if anyone's noticed that the screen itself glitches even when it was doing the Vision sort of like sections. There's these little tiny flare up glitches. Don't know if anyone else is noticing them. I don't know if that is actually part of it or not, but it just sort of adds to that loss of control that Wanda is sort of slowly losing her grip on everything. Vision completely self-aware of the sitting and talking skits, like I mentioned, to the point where he realizes that he can actually just fly and go there, which I also really enjoyed. Like, I like the little bits of comedy that's still put in this, even though it's becoming more and more serious and more dark and twisted. It's still trying to it's trying to still cling on to the TV trope stuff that it's doing. I reckon either the next episode or obviously the finale is going to drop that completely, and we're going to get more of a MCU type movie type TV show episode, for want of a better word, at that point. But at the moment, it does very much feel like either it's Wanda or someone else, or just the show in general is just trying to hold on to that comedy aspect that it's got, which I really enjoy. Obviously, the where are the kids playing in the basement. She's luring her down into the basement at this point. Like, it is so blatantly obvious. And obviously at this point you start to get the spooky vibes. And we're getting into the second meaty part of this episode now. So if you've joined, I've not talked about it yet, jump in the chat. Obviously I had Kev, who mentioned in the chat here about Ghost Rider, which I'll explain for those of you that don't understand what we were talking about in a second. So obviously I've just typed here, oh shit, spooky. That's literally what I've typed. So we're going down. I've then wrote Witchy ? Flashback to who Agnes is. So at this point I was wondering whether we were going to get like a backstory history when she's going down the corridor and things are turning into all cobbly stone type stuff and vines and all that carry on. I thought we were going to get maybe a flashback, which there has been rumours to set pictures sort of explaining Agnes, which I now feel like we might be getting flashbacks in the next episode just because it's come to a sort of conclusion as to who she is. So anyway, keep going. Now, this point I've added in after my initial watch, and it's something that Dan pointed out. So Dan's obviously, again, gone and had a look on the Marvel database, because I know quite a bit about Mephisto and whatnot, but I didn't know this. And as far as we're aware, based on that, unless anyone's changed the wiki just to fool people, the fly that we see is a definite 100% hint towards Mephisto. Whether it is actually going to be him in the show or not, who knows, but the fly was the first appearance of Mephisto in Marvel, according to the Marvel wiki database. So that fly and that sort of focus in on that fly on that window, that very big fly, could be a big hint towards Mephisto. Obviously, I'm playing, in terms of my theories now, because we're so far into it, I'm playing the Occam razor theory, which, if you don't know what that is basically that anything that is the simplest answer is probably correct. So anything that we see, if it's super simple, it's probably correct. If we can tie it up just in his mind going, oh, well, that's a hint towards Mephisto, I bet it's Mephisto, then let's just do it. And we've obviously already done that with Agnes, because as we find out, we get Agatha Harkness. We've got Agatha Harkness. We've been saying it for weeks. Other people with larger channels than me have been saying it for weeks. Everyone's been saying it. It just makes sense at this point. And obviously we've had all the nods to her being a witch of some kind. We even got the hint of her sort of old raggedy costume when it does that. I love the fact that it did Agatha is behind all this. It was Agatha all along, sort of like jingle, where it just goes through all of the time zones and shows all the things that she's done, including reanimating or skinning or creating the illusion of Pietro. Whatever she's done, very interesting. Now, the bit that Kev, if he's still here, I don't know if he's still here, mate, if you've left, I'm sorry, I said I'd get to it, but the bit that he was talking about in regards to in the chat that we've got here about Ghost Rider. Now, I don't think we will get Ghost Rider, and I don't think that the shows are going to be connected. I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to get tied in. I just don't think it'll happen. But that book, to me, because it looks different to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. book in its aesthetic look, is different. But I still think it is the Darkhold. The Darkhold is a sort of evil spell book. Think the Book of the Dead from the Ash versus Evil Dead films, the franchise, everything. Think the Book of the Dead. It is basically a spell book full of all the nastiest stuff you can imagine. Bringing through demons to our world. All of that, for me, makes me think that is what that is. And there is some connection between Wanda's kids, what Wanda is doing, the book, and Agatha now, that is going to be the culmination of this season. My big theory on this is that we won't get Mephisto, but she's trying to bring through some interdimensional being, which will be alluded to and hinted at as Mephisto, or we may even get reference that she might go, known as the devil, known as Cthulhu, known as, and say all of these things, and she might mention Mephisto in mentioning who who this entity is that she's trying to bring forth into the world. Maybe for whatever reason that she survived the Salem witch trials or the witch burnings that we believe we're going to see in this series. Maybe it's his doing or his power that has made her survive this long. and now she's taking the opportunity as she can. Who have we got in the chat? Welcome back, Laundry Day. Thanks for joining us again. What have we got here? I think Pietro is Nightmare now. He was wearing pajamas at the end. I didn't notice what he was wearing. I had to go back and watch that twice because I obviously thought it was him, as in Pietro, but it happened so quickly, for want of a better word, because it's Quicksilver being shown as Quicksilver in the show and obviously in the X-Men universe, that I was like, oh, but yeah, that was so quick I didn't even get a chance to catch who that was. But yeah, it could be. We did mention in the last episode there was a lot of stuff to do with sleeping, there's a lot of stuff to do with kids in the beds, there's a lot of stuff to do with the mentioning of Nightmare before. So it would make sense, I guess, if Pietro is one of these demonic entities that maybe is helping Agatha in some way, to try and bring forth an even bigger, entity of some kind, or maybe she summoned him but she needs more power or something, or I don't know what the MacGuffin's going to be, but I feel like the Darkhold, Pietro, and Agatha are all connected in trying to bring something else forth. For what end or for what purpose and for what reason, I don't know. It was very telling that in the Modern Family skit where she talks back and it's revealed that it was Agatha that was talking to Wanda, that she's punishing her for some reason. Has Wanda accidentally killed someone close to Agatha before, or scuppered some kind of plan of Agatha's before? Has she come across her in Sokovia? Has she come across her in Lagos? I don't know. I feel like that's probably not what it is, and there is just something else, and she may be just punishing her because she's powerful and she's not using her powers the way that she wants her to, or whatever. It was very interesting. What else have we got in the comments? Yeah, Dan's put flies usually linked back to demonic forces. Yeah, makes sense, Is it Beelzebub? I can't remember which one it is. Obviously, if anyone watches like the new series of Sabrina that's on Netflix, one of them is basically a plague of flies, the Lord of Flies type stuff. So it all makes sense, and the decay, etc., makes sense. Joe has put, watch out for the aspect ratio moves from letterbox when it's in MCU to full screen for WandaVision reality. Yeah, I've noticed, obviously, it changes depending on the decades. It's obviously been smaller for the cube-like TVs that we've had in the past and whatnot. And now it keeps flitting between a very sort of wide angle and then sort of like a full screen. Like, it definitely is still slightly different on the aspect ratio, but not by much. I'm wondering if we will get to a point where the aspect ratio is just how we're used to watching a Marvel movie, for example. Maybe. What else have we got, folks? Dan's put, I saw other chats saying that the rabbit, aka Senior Scratchy, is actually Doctor Strange, that she's trapped. It's a very big reach. That is a really big reach, but would be interesting, would kind of explain why he's not involved in any particular capacity. I think that's reaching. I think it's just more devilish hints or satanic hints, personally, but that would be really cool if he just morphs into Doctor Strange at some point to wrap this up. What else have we got? If the Nexus is a gateway to the multiverse, I think that Agatha has pulled a Quicksilver through to control and manipulate Wanda. I think he's not controlled at the end in the post credits. Maybe, I don't know. I have an interesting feel. I mean, it definitely shows that he was manipulating him to the doorway, which shows that he's under some form of manipulation. So yeah, possibly. I do really like the nightmare stuff though. I mean, I can like it, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can like a lot of things that we've all been talking about, and it might not happen. This is the fun of these chats, is just to spit out what we want and see what happens. He wasn't wearing pajamas. I looked again, but I think he's still Nightmare. All right, this could be an introduction because of Doctor Strange. All right, okay, fair enough, Laundry. Yeah, I don't know. He was definitely wearing something different to what he was wearing before, but that could be just that he was wearing like modern clothes, and obviously he wasn't dressed in a Halloween costume. But I like the theory. I'm sticking with you on it just because it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to be that. I think maybe the multiverse does play into it in some aspect, and maybe it is just another variation of Quicksilver. I've seen a lot of people saying that it might be, a lot of people were trying to sort of tie in the X-Men Quicksilver into this. Now, if it's a multiverse and there's multiple varieties, for want of a sort of better explanation, of Quicksilver, then maybe there are multiple that look like Peter Maximoff, which is the the X Manyverse, Fox Manyverse. That was it. That was what I was doing before. It's the Fox Manyverse that I'm trying to coin. Come on, everybody! Hashtag Fox Manyverse. It's dead now anyway, so it doesn't matter what we call it. But that's what I'm calling it. Yeah, basically, I think that he is just another doppelganger potential Quicksilver, but not the Quicksilver from that universe, and not the Quicksilver from the MCU. Mainly, I was watching a video last night, a Matt Pat video for the Film Theory channel, which obviously I'm sure most people are aware of on YouTube. He's huge and he's a fantastic YouTuber, but he was saying that maybe because of the times of the age of when that Quicksilver was born, the flashback to the Sokovia trick-or-treat thing from the last episode when they were kids, that it's probably him. It doesn't really add up because Wanda is shown in the Fox Manyverse as a young girl, like stood in front of the TV at Peter Maximoff's house, like when it flashes back to there. So you do see Wanda. So, and she's much younger than him, so it just wouldn't really make sense. I just think that scene was just showing some of the memories that she's suppressed of their crappy sort of Halloweens that they've done in like an impoverished nation in Sokovia when they were orphans, dressed as Nick Fury and Black Widow. I think that is what that was. I don't think it was any sort of nod to anything else. What else have we got here? Dan put in also another small detail in the basement was the devil faces on the pillars. Small architectural detail, but that was cool. Yeah, it's all satanic and Wiccan in the witchcrafty sense, and I love it. I love it because I love stuff like that anyway. But I love it because it's obviously hinting towards that. My big theory. Joe is sick of the Fox Manyverse. I can't even say it. I'm the one trying to coin it, and I can't even say it. The Fox Manyverse, but you put a capital X, because then obviously it's the Fox Manyverse. Like that's, we'll get it to stick, guys. We'll keep trying it. Maybe I'll just make T-shirts and just try and really force the issue. I don't know. But that's what I'm gonna keep getting wrong each week and saying it wrong, even though I'm trying to coin it. I've already spread the gospel onto Reddit and other places just by mentioning it when I've been mentioning my Quicksilver theories. So, sorry guys, I'm going to keep pushing it. Dietrich, if you do watch this, I can only apologise. Right, so my theory that I was mentioning in regards to Mephisto or the potential illusion of Mephisto, me and Dan were talking just before this stream. I imagine that we may not actually get a Mephisto, although saying that there has been rumours and has been talk by Paul Bettany even more recently than when he was talking before about working with an actor that he's not worked with before. It's not Benedict Cumberbatch because he's worked with him in Creation, which is right here, that I'm going to do some sort of review on, maybe when everyone's having withdrawals from Paul Bettany after this series. It's not him. Even if he is in it, he's not the person that he hasn't worked with before. I keep seeing it bandied around the internet everywhere, and he's worked with him before. And if they did come into contact during the Avengers films, they've worked together. So it's not him. He has said that he's wanted to work with someone that he's not worked with before, and that the fan theories agonisingly close, but he can't say anything and he can't talk about Mephisto, which makes me think that we might get a Mephisto, and it might be some big actor that we've not seen before. The other big one obviously is the Magneto stuff, but I think that the ploy here with Agatha Harkness is that she's trying to in some way use the reality powers that Wanda has unlocked in herself or been given or whatever has happened there to give her those powers, and use the children that she's created potentially out of nothing, and potentially they're the only things that she has created out of absolutely nothing, as some way to unlock some sort of portal to the Nexus, to another dimension, to bring forth her lord. I don't know, a demonic entity, which may be alluded to Mephisto. We might even get a glimpse of an actor playing Mephisto, and then he might get pushed back through the portal and we might not see him again. And maybe he may keep cropping up, because there has been rumours that in the Loki series there's a stained glass window that looks like it's got a devilish character on it in the trailer, and for that reason You know, he might. I don't think he's going to be the big bad in the Thanos sense that goes through several phases, but I do think he's going to be a villain that maybe pops up and influences and corrupts and creates and does damage in some way, shape, or form over several films. That's my theory, anyway. So she's trying to bring some entity in. Maybe she doesn't even know what it is that she's bringing into the world, but she just knows that she needs to do it for some reason. Who knows? Be interesting to find out where the kids are as well, because they've just disappeared, which obviously, as mentioned in the comics, if Wanda is not thinking about them, they're not there. But it does seem like they are real in this respect. It does seem like they are sort of physical beings. So we'll have to see what Agatha has done to them and whether they can be brought back. I mean, the overriding thoughts of most people is that they are going to survive this in some way, because it looks like they're teeing up some kind of the Young Avengers / the New Avengers for the next Avengers film, because obviously we've got a lot of the big hitters off doing other things, and maybe it's going to be down to the kids, quote unquote, to save the day in some respect. Obviously we've got Cassie Lang popping up in Ant-Man and the Wasp that they've obviously recast as well, which is interesting. A bit unfair on the actress that was in Endgame. I thought she was alright, but obviously they've cast for someone that's bigger. Hello, Phoenix Rises 2014. Welcome to the chat. So we have got a direct. What about this? The Darkhold is there. Agatha is there. Next episode, a flaming vehicle barrels past Sword into the Hex. Hell literally comes. Everyone seems to be like dead set on this Ghost Rider stuff. So yeah, I didn't even mention it. I didn't even link. So obviously I've said, someone else in the chat earlier mentioned Ghost Rider in relation to what is clearly the Darkhold. I think, for those of you that aren't aware, I think it was season 4, maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, guys. I've not watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while. I did watch the Ghost Rider season. We got the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, the Hispanic version of Ghost Rider. He has a vehicle as opposed to a bike. He gets the powers because he gets shot in sort of like a gang violence type thing, and he has to sort of help his brother who's got a disability and needs to look after him because he's the only person that can. That's kind of the quickest origin story I can give. Obviously, go look it up online or watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for quite a good take on Robbie Reyes. He does go off into sort of like what looks to be a different dimension. He uses his portals in the show to go elsewhere. People really liked him in the show. I liked him. I enjoyed him. I thought he could have had more to do in it, but they were obviously teeing up for greater things. I don't know if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ever going to be connected to the MCU. I just don't think they're going to do it. It feels like Feige is very against anything that he didn't have complete control over coming forward. Obviously, we've got all the rights for the Netflix shows back, and those Netflix shows, those characters, may be keeping the same cast, but putting them in the MCU, such as, Charlie Cox playing Matt Murdock, for example, and John Bernthal playing the Punisher. But they will be very much, in my belief anyway, the MCU version, the MCU flavour of those characters in the MCU, and what's happened in the Netflix shows will be a different universe or an offshoot of sorts, and we'll be starting again, maybe without the origins, for example, a bit like Spider-Man. So in that sense, I don't know if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will tie in, but it would be really cool if we do get Ghost Rider, because Bettany won't have worked with him. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of the actor that played him in the show. If anyone can remember, stick it in the chat. But I do think, because obviously I think after this he did get his own series in something else. He was meant to get a Ghost Rider series before obviously Marvel TV as a division got shut down. So yeah. Maybe I'm all for it if it happens, honestly, because it will be just completely out of the blue and will be a great way to sort of, it's demon versus demon, so to speak. I'm just going to jump in the chat, guys, and see what people are saying. So we've got Laundry Day. Did anybody notice that the mailman was carrying boxes that said "Fragile, handle with care"? And when Monica was confronting Wanda, the name of his company is now Presto. Presto is on his shirt. And then what's Dan put? I think the mailman is just becoming a bit of a passing meme. Seems to be a bit of a comical when he passes and not really of any importance. Still fun though. Yeah, I don't know. The mailman, to me, I get in massive riffs of the glitch from Rick and Morty, where there's just the my man, and it's the mailman just like glitching into the lamppost and stuff. And as I've mentioned, I think some of the Rick and Morty writers are involved with WandaVision. I'm definitely sure that they are involved in like the Loki series and stuff. So I believe they're involved in WandaVision as well in some respect. So maybe it is a nod to that. I'm not sure. Laundry, if you want to explain what you mean by the Presto stuff, maybe I'm missing it. Other than the fact that Presto is something you say, hey Presto, when there's like a magic spell. That's the only thing I can think of that's just like a winky nod. Phoenix Rises back again. Let's have a look. They could have Wanda and Vision fight Agatha, get the upper hand, and then the rider catches her with his chain, and they end her story with them going somewhere, setting up Ghost Rider stuff. Honestly, I'm all for it if it sets up Ghost Rider stuff, because I wasn't expecting it at all. And obviously, like the rumours that I'd last seen, we've got rumours of Keanu Reeves potentially. We've obviously got, like you've put here, you've got Nick Cage coming back. The Keanu Reeves one is the one that I would love, just because he's an avid motorcycle enthusiast in real life. The other one would be Norman Reedus. I think Norman Reedus from Walking Dead fame would make a really good Ghost Rider. Again, Daryl, his character, is always on a motorbike, and in real life, again, he did a full series on motorbikes, and he's a bit of a petrol head, a bit like Keanu Reeves. And I feel like because he's already on TV and Walking Dead's coming to an end, bringing him into a TV show could be a good route to go if they did use Norman Reedus. They've obviously mentioned it's an actor that no one's mentioned, so for this reason, and just, you know, it's not clickbait, but at the same time, just to throw out a theory based on the chat, everyone seems to be thinking Ghost Rider's going to appear in this as opposed to Doctor Strange or someone. Let's just say that the big cameo that he's not worked with, and I haven't checked this, he could have worked with him before, Bettany, is either Norman Reedus or Keanu Reeves playing Ghost Rider, or Nick Cage. Let's just go with that. Should we go with that? Sounds fun. What else have we got? Joe has mentioned, I saw something about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are in their own branching time. Yeah, I think that they are in a completely separate timeline, but, you know, if they're going to mash multiverses, they could have the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider in there just for a little bit, maybe. Phoenix, yeah, you mentioned Nick Cage and Keanu being the Rider. I like that. He was the Terminator after. That was it. Yeah, he was in the Terminator TV series. Yeah, that was... I'm sure he's been in a couple of films as well. Oh, he was in the Terminator, not the TV series. He's in the new Terminator film. Yeah, what we're talking about. Yeah, he was really, really, really good in that as well. I actually really enjoyed him. So, even though that film's a bit... yeah. So, for that reason, yeah. Okay, maybe. I'm starting on liking the Ghost Rider talk quite a lot, just because it's come so left field to me. Even though I knew that the Darkhold was there, I know that that's associated to him in some way. Interesting. What else have we got? Keanu, let's go to hell, bitch. That would be a great line. I would quite enjoy that if that happened. What else have you got, Phoenix? Also, Mephisto is tied to Agatha, so he would totally be pissed and want to fight. Yeah, true. Dan chucking out there, Ewan McGregor is a motorcycle guy. Maybe it could be an Obi-Wan Ghost Rider. I would 100%. That would... I don't know what I would want more at this stage out of the three that we've suggested, and then just chucking Nick Cage into the ring, because why not? Yeah, the chat has just gone into full-on Ghost Rider mode. I wasn't expecting this. What else have we got? Phoenix, he was awesome as the Rev 9. Yeah, I thought he was really good as the Rev 9. I think when I saw that film, I didn't particularly like the film. It's okay. It's all right. It's like very meh as a film goes, and I don't think we may potentially not get any more Terminators because of that film. And I know we're digressing massively here, but yes, he was good as the Rev 9. And I feel like I was one of the only people that when I watched that knew him as an actor from it. From something else that I'd watched. I don't know. I'm not trying to be all hipster. It's just when I watched it, I feel like whoever I went to go see it with may have been my friend Johnny. I'm not sure, but yeah, I recognised him from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What's Laundry Day put? It was something funny they threw in there because of Wanda's magic. Presto. Yeah. The confrontation was about Monica and Wanda's grief. Hence, both boxes being fragile to handle with care. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I didn't notice that. It's very... I like the little tiny things that they're just sprinkling in, you know, like stuff like that. You know, I've got a lot of time for. Good spot by Laundry Day there. Phoenix Rises, that Terminator was more like a sociopath than a robot. Yeah, True, true. That's why he was great in the new Terminator. Yeah, he played it like a charismatic serial killer who knew how to play people's emotions. Yeah, completely agree. 100%. That was the one thing that I kind of enjoyed from that film, of very small things to enjoy from that film. I agree with you 100%, Phoenix. What have we got from Dan? Dialing things back a bit, I do wonder what is going to unfold with Monica making her way into the basement. I'm kind of skipping forward here. Phoenix then mentions, did you notice Monica's Captain Marvel walk? She redid the My Name is Carol moment with the Hex walk. Yeah. It was very on the nose. I liked it. It almost kind of showed that sort of like willpower that she's going to get through and she's going to save everyone, and that's sort of, sort of reality warping bubble. So the reality is warps towards the one thing that maybe she wants, which is to be a hero. Even if it seems like she's pissed off with Carol, which I understand considering that she disappeared and didn't come back for a while. But at the same time, she's still in awe of her, and it kind of makes sense that would have been the thing, the catalyst, that in this reality warping bubble, she's pulled herself back together and to get through, and she's wanted to be a hero, and it's kind of give her those type of powers. It'd be cool to see how they do the powers in the MCU, because I know it's all like photon blasts and light based things. Is it going to be similar to Captain Marvel stuff, or is it going to be its own thing entirely? That's going to be super interesting for me. I'm just going to check. I'm pretty sure I'm all notepadded out. I don't think I had anything else. The end bit with the Pietro Snooper's going to snoop thing. That was the only other thing that I got from the end credits. It was cool that we got that. I wonder if we're going to get more in the next two, or whether it was just to set up the penultimate episode and then the finale episode. Phoenix, what have you got here? So what was Monica seeing around the power lines? I think that was just showing her powers manifesting with her eyes and everything like that. I believe because she has got light or sort of photon, it's kind of blurry to sort of explain the powers, but it's electrical, it's light manifesting powers, photon powers. I think it was just emphasizing that she has gone through a change. It gave a very Daredevil vibe, which I thought was pretty cool. I agree, Phoenix. Joe, did you mention the link to the book? Yeah, I've mentioned the book. So the link to the book from obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and also just in general from the deep cut of Marvel stuff. It looks to be the Darkhold. I believe it's it doesn't look the same as the Darkhold book from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and I don't think, my personal take is they're not going to collide those two universes at all. But that to me is definitely what that book was. Maybe it's been stolen from one of the Sanctums as well. Maybe that's how Agatha has had it for hundreds of years, because obviously we know the Sanctums and all that sort of Doctor Stranginess has been going on for hundreds of years. So maybe that all ties in with the witchcraft element of this. Phoenix has put, people complain about that, but the point was Quicksilver evil, or was he like, I want out and I'm here to help? Yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. Like, because it's so quick. Mind the pun. I don't know where to fall down on, because obviously he was definitely being manipulated when he was at the door, and obviously it alludes that therefore he's been manipulated the whole time that he was involved with Wanda. And once he was shot into the gravestones in the last episode, maybe that broke the sort of the mind control. But also at the same time, where did he disappear to at that point? There is a lot of questions still to be answered, and I don't think we're going to get them until the end of the series. A lot of people on the WandaVision Reddit Discord that I was chatting on the other day, if you've not joined that and you want all this kind of fan chatter 24/7, go join that, because it's quite fun. But a lot of people were saying, what if the ending of this just leaves it on a cliffhanger where we don't get the answer until Doctor Strange 2, which obviously we're not getting until 2022. I know we're going to have some ties into Spider-Man 3 in December if that comes out when it's supposed to, but still, if it comes with a Wanda will return, or a Spectrum will return, or Doctor Strange appears and it sort of cuts to black, I'm probably going to have a big cry. What else have we got? Laundry Day. I think it's possible that Monica's mom Take it your American laundry day, so welcome aboard. Us Brits who go with the mums. I think it's possible that Monica's mum already knew that Monica had powers based on the words that were being said when Monica was going through the energy field. Maybe there's some sort of residual stuff going on there. Maybe again, if like we mentioned in the previous thing, if this is a reverse House of M type situation where it creates more powered people based on the hex. More mutants. Maybe some people do have that gene that's inherently there that gets unlocked later on. Maybe that is what that is. So maybe that could be what that is. I'm gonna get towards wrapping this up. For anyone that has joined us, thank you. If you've joined us from previous weeks, I recognise Laundry Day. Obviously know that Joe and Dan are friends of mine who are in the same boat as me here in lockdown UK, and therefore are watching it nice and early with me so I'm not talking to myself on the internet. So I really appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe if you want. You don't have to, but if you want to, it would be great, and I would like you to stick around because I'll keep doing these each Friday. For people that joined later on in the stream, I ballsed up massively. I had everything set up, clicked OBS to stream, forgot to click stream on YouTube because I'm a noob, and therefore I was talking to myself for 10 minutes. So if the beginning of this episode, for anyone that rewatches this, I don't know if anyone will watch these ending bits anyway if you're rewatching it on YouTube later as just a regular video. I can only apologise. It will be hopefully much better and much more well presented next week, next Friday at 9:30 AM UK time, because hopefully I won't balls up and I'll click stream on both of the streaming platforms. I'm just going to quickly jump into the chat, see what people are saying, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So let's have a look. Phoenix mentions that they did emphasise her hitting him with the blast in the recap. Yeah, true. So maybe that knocked it out of him. Laundry Day mentioning Monica said I could meet you halfway when her mom left to go with Carol and Captain Marvel. Monica's mum said only if you learn how to glow like Carol. Yeah, possibly. I get what you're getting at. I think it's all just been seeded to push towards her getting powers. I don't think she potentially had the powers already. I think it's just been seeded, and obviously it's just a way of her telling her kid that she can't come yet because she's never going to be able to get powers. But obviously, lo and behold, she's now got powers. Phoenix has also put, imagine Agatha losing, Wanda starting to freak out, Doctor Strange obviously going, oh shit, starting to do a spell, and then the hex explodes, everything is normal, but Wanda and Strange vanish. That would also be a very epic ending, but also one of those that I would be infuriated by if it happens. Then we've got to wait for like another year, the C word pending, obviously, that we can all go back to the cinemas and whatnot. And yeah, cheers, Dan. If everyone wants to join in on my new favourite hashtag, obviously I've now added all of my social media platforms at the bottom of the screen there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do, and you can obviously, can try and start a movement for the now defunct Fox Manyverse, as I am going to keep calling it. Doesn't matter what we call it now, folks, because it's gone. But Fox Manyverse, that's what I'm sticking with. We've got a new person here. We've got Vision. So we had Wanda Maximoff last week. We have now got Vision. I feel very honoured. Agnes has the Power Stone, purple colour. Didn't think of that at all at the time, but that would make sense. What if someone mentioned that the Infinity Stones have been atomized and reduced to atoms? What if, because things can't just be taken away from the universe, things can be sort of broken down to a molecular or atomic level, but they can't disappear. A lot of the rumours I have been seeing online have been people speculating that maybe Wanda somehow absorbed the Reality Stone when it was destroyed, and likewise, maybe like your theory there, Vision. I'm talking to Vision in the chat, not just like Vision, the character, although he could be, for all I know, so hi. Mentioning the purple from the Power Stone, I do think it's more of a magic thing, and they've just done it to combat everybody having red magic, for example, or orange, like Doctor Strange. So they've given a purple. Tried to make this light purple here as well. Just, got to be on point. But yeah, very, very interesting to sort of notice. Would make sense in a way. So, you know, I'm not ruling that out. It was a good observation. Phoenix, I really think MCU Strange would take Agatha. Well, to me, MCU Strange should be able to take anyone at this point from what we've seen of his power level in such a short space of time when he was fighting Thanos. But we'll see. What else have we got before I go? So Phoenix, he fought yeah, 4-stone Thanos and practiced for decades against Dormammu. Yeah, I agree. Joe, but Wanda power is ready, but come from the yellow Mind Stone. Yeah, it's red, even though it's come from the Power Stone. Sorry, from the Mind Stone. I'm losing my trail of thought here. I don't know. I don't know whether she has just inherently already had power, and this is how the MCU is going to mention that people do have like a mutant gene. I think that could be linked to the Eternals stuff that we eventually get when the Eternals movie comes out, that there are some powerful sort of dormant humans that the Eternals have somehow created in some aspect, and that might tie in with the X-Men stuff. Monica Space Stone Blue. Yeah, maybe like if her powers are blue as well, yeah, it makes sense. What else have we got? Phoenix. That is so stupid to me. Wanda should have gotten powers from the reality and Pietro from space, hence the reality and supers. But yeah, I've never really understood the Mind Stone thing. I think it's just a powerful object that has unlocked inherent abilities. And obviously, way back when Age of Ultron came out, they couldn't mention mutants. It was miracles, etc. The re-explanation now is just that radiation or cosmic energy of some kind has accelerated them and unlocked these genes that were in them, that they already had these powers along with loads of other humans. That is my theory. That is my sort of X-Men mutant theory for everything, is that some people just have something that was eventually over time going to evolve into them, and whatever Wanda does now, or whatever people have come into interaction with powerful sort of cosmic energies, it just inherently unlocks or combines with those powers. And I think the Eternals movie may explain this, but this is literally just a hunch. It's just a complete theory. It's just a way of adding mutants into the MCU without them just being sprung in from nowhere. So that's my theory on that. Which I do agree, if they were going to do it based on stone to stone powers, then as Phoenix says, Wanda should have got it from the Reality Stone all along, and Pietro should have got it from space, because obviously he's moving quickly through space and time. Vision, I think the Hex is due to 6 Infinity Stones. Possibly, I think the cosmic radiation, someone mentioned in a video I watched the other day, it might have been a film theory, Matt Pat one, to do with the CMBR cosmic rays creating, once the Infinity Stones have gone, because they're from the dawn of creation, and CMBR in real life is from the Big Bang, that energy is created what is going on in some capacity. So it makes sense. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up, because other than my 10 minutes of talking to myself when I balls the stream up earlier, I've been going on for about an hour and a bit, and I realise that everyone probably has stuff that they want to get on with. But I will just quickly read these last comments, and then I'm gonna do my bit and leave. But thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. So what have we got? Agatha is a witch, or maybe uses Wanda to mutate her to have powers, possibly. Phoenix has put the only thing Wanda did with the Mind Stone power was put people in a personal. Yeah, she had sort of like the telekinesis, telepathic abilities, I guess. At a stretch, it makes sense, and made Tony into an asshole. I like you, Phoenix. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that was where the mind stuff came into play. Guys, I've run out of notes. If anyone does watch this from the beginning, I ballsed up massively. Everything went completely wrong. I'm so sorry. I will be doing a episode 8 stream. I've done an episode 5, 6. This is the 3rd stream I've ever done, ever. As I've mentioned to people before, I've currently got a marketing exam in my own personal life that I'm doing in less than a week's time now. So all my time in terms of regular, normal YouTube videos is been put into revision at the moment. Once that is done, providing I've got the time to do it, I'll be doing some more WandaVision videos. I'll start doing some Falcon Winter Soldier videos. I still want to do a Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous video if anyone's interested. And I'm obviously going to do a creation starring Paul Bettany review for everyone that's probably going to be having, you know, withdrawals come the end of WandaVision with no Paul Bettany in their life. So I'll be doing a review on that as well. But that will be all in due time. Thank you for joining the stream. It will hopefully work out much better next time. I had all of these cool intro cards set up. I had all this fun stuff just to make it seem a bit more professional, because I'm not very professional. I had all that. I've obviously stuck underneath here. I've got all my socials. So if you do want to follow me, my predominant one, I'm on Twitter most of the time, pretty much all of the time. So follow me on Twitter. I'll put a new link to the WandaVision episode 8 live stream, which will be going ahead at 9:30 a.m. British time, GMT next week. I'll be watching the episode again, bang on around 8 o'clock, providing that it's not an hour long or anything longer than what we usually get. I'll be on, hopefully, without balls in the stream up at 9:30. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know there's loads of other stuff going on in the comments here. I'm very, very quickly just going to wind this down. Let's have a look. I only think Wanda did with... Yeah, we've got that. What is there in Agnes's basement? We think it's the Darkhold. We think that it feels like there's an allude to Mephisto or demonic entities or other realms or somebody trying to unlock some sort of door or gateway. That's the vibe I'm getting. We'll see next week, hopefully, unless it's a flashback episode and then we finally get everything in episode 9. Cheers, Dan. It is always a pleasure to have you on board. Thanks for joining the chat and sticking with me so that I'm not just talking to myself on the internet. Phoenix Rises, and Nexus, and where Jarvis gave his last power to stop Ultron's nukes, hence Vision's selflessness. Yep, no, I agree. I agree with you in just that you've put it as meaning, Phoenix. Everything in the show has some subtle meaning. Joe, thank you for the comment there on the great stream. Got to go pick up his keys for his new house now. Right, enjoy moving during a global lockdown. Obviously, you can give us a shout if you need some help. We've already offered that before, but I'm digressing from the stream. Phoenix, what's the last comment you've put here? But yeah, I had to look that up. Nexus is where Tony saw Jarvis give the last of his power to stop Ultron's nukes. It symbolises Vision's self. Right, okay, right, makes sense. So in the comics, it's a portal to different dimensions, and in this, it's in relation to Jarvis stopping Ultron's nukes and where Vision comes from. It's part of his personality and part of him. Makes sense. So, Phoenix, it's morning here. I'm in the UK, but if you are from the US, as I suspect, with that, have a good night, man. Have a good night. Get some rest. Hopefully, I'll see you next Friday. For everyone else, hopefully, I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully, the stream won't be ballsed up this time, and I'll do it right. Thanks for joining me. Follow me on the socials if you want. Subscribe if you aren't already. You don't have to. In a bizzle. I'm just going to end this stream now. This is always super, super awkward. Bye.